Welcome back to the Attunement Podcast, episode number 23, coming at you live. Not actually. Today's experiment is no experiment. I'm Harry. This is my friend Samek. Boys and girls, we ran a retreat. Can't teach that. They don't teach you how to do that in school, but we did it anyway. Sorry. And it was sick as fuck. And bro, you guys should have seen Samek's face 2 days ago. That shit was completely different. I'm still seeing like a 10 to 20% difference right now. So you can check that out if you want. And passing it over to you.
Yeah, I'm just gonna start you off. The basic question: what did you learn at the Attunement Residency?
Boom. All right, quick context on the Attunement Residency. It was a week. It was me and Samek and 3 participants. We did a lot of pure inquiry. So like swap in 20 minutes each way, like 4 pure inquiry conversations a day, listening from unconditional love, asking questions from unconditional love. So it was intense. 5 a day, you're correct. And mostly in pairs, but sometimes like 2 people asking 1 person questions or 4 people holding space for 1 person. There's your context. And then we also cooked for ourselves and got our own food. And we're in this beautiful retreat center that Samek's dad's friend let us use for free because he wants to support the younger generations in their Dharma practice. Let's go. And it was in Portland, Oregon. And if you want to, we will probably run more in the future. And if you want to put your interest in, and if you want to have a vote of where and when it is, harryandsamek.com, there's a form. You can tell us you're interested. You can tell us where you want it to be run. You can tell us when you want it to be run. Bang. What did I learn? Honestly, the biggest thing is, right, like stock market. Everyone's life is a stock market, so it goes up and down, but in general, it goes up, especially if you're doing the work. And so the Attunement Residency was like that for me, stock market. And at the beginning, the stock market lows were like, I can't bring this in. And one of the principles we set at the retreat, which I'm proud of and enjoyed and benefited from, was bring it in. As in, there's going to be something, I literally said in the opening circle, there's going to be something that you're like, nah, I can't bring that into my view conversation because that's like, it's about interpersonal dynamics or it's about how I'm leading the retreat. It's sexual or whatever. There's some part of you is going to be like, no, but I can't bring that into the conversation, which is basically saying like, no, that's so shameful or dangerous that I actually need to hide it, which I think is just mostly never true, especially in this safe and intentional and doing the work context. And so I had some versions of that were close to like, I'm tired, I'm low energy, I don't feel like being vulnerable, I feel stuck, and like I don't feel seen. Something like that, which is just like this like collapse. Or maybe even like I want to collapse. It's like collapse and just like, we're fucked. We're fucked. And it's like I can't bring that in, especially as like a leader of the retreat. Like I can't bring that into the view conversation. And then I hashtag brought it in. I was literally in the meditation temple talking to my friend who was one of the participants. I'm like lying on the ground having the conversation and I'm like, and he like lies down across from me. And then I realized that like there's all this shame and I realized that if I looked him in the eyes, then I could like see the shame. But I could also see him like having no fucking problem with how stuck and ashamed I am. And so it's just the incompatible evidence, the disproving evidence of my like shame belief. I was like, oh, I can be ashamed and I don't have to be ashamed. And so it kind of feels like it started like processing the shame. And then I just was like, oh, wait. So the times I get most stuck are when I'm ashamed, and then I'm so ashamed that I actually try to hide it. Because shame already stagnates things. And then it's like, I'm not even going to let you see the shame, which is like another layer of hiding and stagnation. So it's like two layers of not letting anything move. And then over time, it just became the embodied belief by like day 2, day 3, easily day 4. It's like, oh, someone said it this way. It's like, there's nothing that I can say that's true for me that would make anyone here hate me. And I would say like almost, honestly, I think close to true. Like, there's nothing I could say that's true for me in this community, in this context, that someone would reject me for. Reject on a small scale, sure, but like reject on a larger scale, I think basically not. Um, and like close their heart to me, whatever. Um, so then it's just like, oh, it's just obvious that if I'm stuck, it's actually just me hiding. And then once I stop hiding, I'm not stuck. I don't feel stuck anymore. And then it's like, oh, I just get to bring all of me. And Joe Hudson will talk about, oh, getting triggered is exciting because it means there's a path to my freedom. There's some way I'm not loving myself. And I got that intellectually, but being in that context, it's like, oh, dude, if I'm triggered, I'm about to have like a great one-on-one conversation with full attuned loving attention on me. And if I share it, the other person's not going to judge me for it. They're just going to love it. And then like that thing can just transform. Like it's just like of course I'm fine with being triggered. Because if I get triggered, then I just get to bring in this part of me, and then someone else is going to like show me what it's like for that to be loved, and I'm going to get to see a new way that can be loved. And then like more of me can be here, and I can stop wasting energy constricting myself to hide parts of myself that I think need to be hidden when I'm in this community where obviously nothing needs to be hidden. So what's the learning? Like the embodied feeling of like, oh wow, there's like no reason to hide. And so now I'm back at Earth Dance. I love Earth Dance. I do not feel nearly as safe. I feel very safe at Earth Dance. Earth Dance is my favorite place I've ever lived. But the level of safety at the Attunement Residency, I don't know, I'll say it was like 3 times this, 2 times this. And so it's interesting seeing like, I can understand why I'd want to hide parts of myself here. Like, if there are certain parts of myself that if I bring out here, I think people will close their heart to me and like will judge me and will get mad at me. Unlike the Attunement Residency. Um, hmm. And then the other part of that is, oh, like let's say I'm showing myself 50% at Earth Dance. It's more than that, but let's say it's 50%. I think people would like fully love me up to like 90%, and they would judge me for like 90 to 100% of like sharing my full self. And so I haven't even gotten close to saturating how much of myself I could show and be loved in at Earth Dance. And it's kind of cool to see that clearly too. Because it's not all the way like, oh my God, any part of myself, no one will judge me for. But it's like, oh, actually, most of what I'm holding back is just, again, just me hiding for, at this point, basically no reason. Like, it's not effective or important. And there's so many other learnings and more sensitivity and more love and more awareness and changing relationship with myself. But that's the biggest one. And I'm going to pause there.
I feel like I could ask you the same question like 5 more times. Um, and you'd probably have 5 more other answers. Um, and I also want to jump in for like everything you shared. Like, I think one of the biggest learnings I had was the trigger thing of like I think intellectually you always understand like triggers are always my problem. As in, if someone does something, like they criticize you, or judge you, the only reason you'd get triggered about that is because a part of you believes it. A part of you is like holding a hurt in. A part of you is hiding. Part of you is scared. Um, if someone says like you look like an orange clown and you don't look like an orange clown, you just like laugh. Like it doesn't even like affect you. But if someone says something that like hits you, then it's like, oh shit, they're matching something the voice in the head says. That hurts. I feel angry. I feel triggered. Um, and being in an environment where every other hour we're doing peer inquiry, where you're working on the most alive thing that's available to you at that moment, what happens is the triggers become self-referential in a way that's like very obvious and clear. So someone does something, you get triggered, and then you talk about it the next hour. You find the root of the trigger is your problem. And then that happens over and over and over and over and over again for 7 days straight. You're basically like just like being blasted. Like everyone here loves you unconditionally. All the reasons you're fucked up and mad and angry and insecure is because you have your own internal issues. That just creates this like finished self-referential loop that allows, in a way, for me, it was like every time I was triggered, it was just like, oh, cool. I have this thing that I want to work on that is solely my problem. And if I know how to work with this, I'm able to be with this person in a way that's loving and unconditionally loving. And that might be speaking my truth to them. It might be setting a boundary. It might be making a request. It might be apologizing. But like those are my responsibility, and like not having clarity of what I want to do in that moment is also like something that I get to work on. And I would say like it makes interacting with people much more enjoyable because the baseline is I will love you, and then if you do something that triggers me, I will go support myself. It has nothing to do with you. So there's just less blame as a whole in interactions. And with less blame, there's more love, less shame, and everything just flows a little bit better.
Yeah. And I want to, and like, this podcast turns into us just going back and forth. That's totally fine. Like, two things. One, like, there were still times when my mind was like, I fucking hate Samek and Samek is the problem. But I still feel like everyone, including me, still had this level of awareness, which is like, maybe I can't stop myself from making it about Samek in my head, but I'm not actually going to start making it about Samek like in external social reality. Like I'm not going to start talking to other people about how Samek sucks and how like we need to get Samek to stop sucking. Like part of my head believes that, but it's like I'm not going to let that negatively influence the culture. And so like one of the main agreements we had was no gossip, which I'm like pretty proud of how we like actually reminded each other of that and actually like took self-responsibility and accountability with others to like actually uphold that as best we could. And I think that was helpful. And then the second thing that comes up is I'm really grateful and really enjoyed our like jokey or sincere, ironic culture, which is like, uh, there's so many inside jokes, but I mean, we got to tell them about John Permis, but dude, all right, I'm telling you about John Permis. This is a good example of like our jokey but still serious culture, like holding things lightly and seriously at the same time in a way that I think was very healthy and helpful and gives space for all of us to iterate and do things imperfectly. And so we were sitting having dinner one night, and you guys, John Permis, we were sitting having dinner one night, and one of the participants was having this realization of like, dude, asking for permission is so fucking sick. Like asking for permission rocks. And he's talking about it, and he's like, who invented asking for permission? I want to shake that guy's hand. And I was like, oh, John Permis invented asking for permission 15 years ago. And he's like, is that a real person? I was like, no. And so then in so many pure inquiry conversations, and even outside of pure inquiry conversations, one of the most classic questions of the retreat was, what would John Permis do right now? Or what would John Permis ask for right now? And I mean, you can just feel the difference between that question and like, what do you want to ask for right now to support yourself, if anything? There's just like, there's just a lightness in John Permis that makes it permissioning, and free and like not too serious and not too high stakes. And we had so many inside jokes like that. Um, and bringing that back to like self-referential triggers and setting boundaries with each other and not making it about other people, like we were still annoying the fuck out of each other. And we were still
Continuously.
and we a bunch of people including me set a bunch of like garbage fake boundaries a bunch of times, and a bunch of people like set boundaries as like half jokes and half serious. And it's like one of the other ones was like, if Samek annoys me, I might go, I'm feeling the pain, I'm feeling the pain, I'm feeling the pain. I was like, that's clearly pretty annoying and pretty non-optimal. But like having the joking and serious, sincere, ironic culture, like kind of allows the space for that play and iteration, so that like I can do the thing first as a joke, and it's like it's 10% better than the default, and it's kind of stupid, but whatever. And then that can evolve, right? We can play, and that can evolve into like a more genuine, open-hearted boundary. As like, oh, Samek's actually really pissing me off. Like Samek, like actually, when you do this thing, or even just like, okay, I actually don't want to talk about this right now. Like, can we talk about something else? And probably Samek would be like, yeah. But if he was like, no, then I'd be like, all right, like that's okay. I'm gonna leave the room. It's just allowing the play and allowing the evolution. And so I'm just really grateful for that culture, because I think it's rare to have be doing intense emotional work and not take it too seriously and not try to get it right so much. That was just like a really nice vibe we had going together. And I wonder how you would describe it, because we were annoying the fuck out of each other. We're getting triggered by each other. I'm sure your mind too had parts going on that's like, this person's so fucking annoying and they're the problem. But like that really, really, really didn't bleed into like external reality. Like we really were taking self-responsibility at the deepest level, even though at all these shallower levels, we were willing to let ourselves be the fucked up children that we are. Yeah,
Wait, you froze. One sec.
that's okay.
Coming back. Okay. Cut back.
Mm.
I would say like that's another big piece of my learning was what makes a healthy culture.
Mm.
Um, I would like when I went to the Zen retreat, the experience was when you have really clear guidelines, rules, principles, and expectations. This is the big thing. Expectations of how other people will behave. What it creates is a real deep sense of safety. So the way that I described it when I went to the Zen retreat was like the container is extremely tight. This is the culture, this is the container. No one can look anyone else in the eyes. Everyone is moving in unison. No one is talking. The schedule is printed on the wall and everyone's following the schedule. You cook together, you clean together, and everyone is doing the work. And you trust everyone in that retreat to follow those cultural rules and expectations. And it's extremely clear to you. It wasn't clear to me, but it was extremely clear to everyone there. Like, these are the rules. And what that allows for is like, oh, if I follow these rules, then no one will judge me. No one will attack me more so than anything. No one will attack me. No one will be mad at me. So it creates this deep sense of safety. And at the Zen retreat, like what they're trying to do is you're trying to create this feeling of interbeing. Like everyone is interconnected, everyone is one. This like oneness experience that comes about. And that usually happens day 4, day 5, where like everyone is so seeped in the culture that you drop in. It's like you drop into the culture. You're like you understand that this is how things are. And when you drop into a Zen culture, what happens is you experience this deep sense of emptiness, deep sense of like interbeing, and you feel interconnected and you feel extremely safe. And that allows for your sense of self to drop away, your ego structure to drop away, and gain these deep insights into anatta, not self or no self, that they are trying to teach. But the thing is, it's not interpersonal at all. No one's talking, no one's looking at each other in the eyes. Like, of course, you can create a safe container where no one's doing anything that bothers anyone else. Like, no one's getting triggered. It's like such a confined container. And then the question becomes, how do you create that container? How do you create a culture? How do you create a culture in the outside world that feels just as safe as the culture of a Zen container? And it's like, oh, like the Art of Accomplishment has a wonderful podcast on it. Your culture is feels extremely safe. Culture is extremely healthy when it's vulnerability top to bottom, which is everyone is bringing in what's happening for them so that everyone gets to heal from their issues. Everyone has emotional fluidity, as in like when you deconstruct the issue, you're able to move it out of you. Like you have the emotional fluidity to process it. Everyone's in it for everyone else. It's not like a 1v1. It's not like a lose-lose or a win-lose. It's a win-win. Everyone gets to win, and the culture expects it. There's no gossip, so no one is destroying another person's expectation or like reputation or identity, and you feel safe in sharing and bringing in anything. Um, there's a sense of no obligation. You're making requests, and you feel no obligation to say yes. You can be like, "Can I punch you in the face?" And the person can be like, "No." "Can I steal your toothbrush?" And you can say yes. Like, there's no obligation. And when you have like a very, and then like, you understand that like it is your responsibility to set boundaries. There's an expectation that like everyone here is here to like work on themselves and to unconditionally love. And then there's principles like the lightness. Like one of the first principles we had is the job is enjoyment, which is like we're here to enjoy ourselves. We're here to have fun. It doesn't matter if you get anything out of it. You be
Yeah.
unproductive. You're just here to have fun,
Yeah.
okay? You're just here to have fun. We're here to fucking enjoy ourselves.
I want to jump
And I
in.
learned,
One
go
one
for
of
it.
the other classic questions of the retreat was how can you be more unproductive right now? And that helped me so many times.
Yeah. So I remember like learning this at the reunion, like the Art of Accomplishment reunion retreat, which is like the container is set. Now you just get to play and the insights will come. And the
Mm.
better you're able to play, the safer you'll feel, and like you'll just experiment and you'll just learn. Like kids are learning from and growing incredibly like well in their first 7, 8 years of life, and all they do is play. They don't fucking think about I should be this, I should be that, I should grow in this way. They're just playing, experimenting, and they're learning more about themselves and growing. So I think we did an incredible job of having these principles, job is enjoyment, bring it in, transparency, and very clear guidelines, like such clear guidelines that the culture was established. Like there's rules were fully established such that everyone had this felt sense of safety that allowed them to dive deep into the work and also bring their like bring everything in, like be be their childlike self, be the whatever messiness they are. Like be messy was another thing that moved through the group in like day two, which was really fun. It's like everyone got to like be a gorilla, be a monkey, like someone was screaming, like there's like weirdness. There's just like the wildness of humanity was just allowed to roam free, and you knew that you wouldn't be judged for it and you'd be loved for it. And if someone is judging you, they're gonna go work on it, and you,
Yeah,
you know they're gonna bring in like you know they're gonna bring it into the next conversation. It's almost like I wonder what's gonna happen, and that allowed like I think everyone in the retreat who didn't have access to their heart, like being empowered and loving, fully, like got access to their heart by the end of the retreat. Like all the participants were just like able to drop into their heart, and that happened because the culture was so safe that you didn't need that ego structure to protect you. And like I feel like day four, day five of our retreat, like people dropped into the culture, dropped into the safety, dropped into the interbeing that came about based on the culture that we created, which was also very interpersonal. that could also, in a way, like be taken outside of the retreat. So like we established this culture in the retreat, but we established it based on what we understood. Like for Harry, it's like Harry is the culture, I am the culture, and we brought that in a way that's like, oh, this is the culture we're creating. But this culture is just like a way to be. So if you leave the like retreat with this culture, you can still have this sense of safety if you still like abide by these rules. It just like now you have to learn to deal with other people who don't have this culture. So then it becomes like a question of like, oh, how do I want to establish my culture and like establish my way of being such that I'm able to help other, not even help people, but like able to interact with people that are not in my culture and still feel safe. Um,
Mm,
so I feel like we did an excellent job. I also learned a lot about like having a really good internal culture. Like I have parts, you have parts. I am the culture. I have different parts that are like feeling obligated, like guilting other parts of me, not setting right boundaries, not being able to say no. Like internally, my culture is fucked, and being able to establish a beautiful retreat culture, like slowly kind of like changes my internal culture, so it becomes more core. I would say like cohesive. It becomes more centered. It becomes more aligned. It becomes more like self-referential.
yeah.
And I feel like that was like the experience for most people at the retreat.
I want to bring in that something that felt uniquely nice, uniquely awesome to me at the retreat was that the agreements and principles we were setting felt super authentic. And so there's that, like, I am the culture. And there's that we're also participating in the retreat, which I really, really liked for this one. And I think I would still want, at least for the next one, but probably for a while, is that I'm out here, and the way that like this whole thing came to me was just more and more versions. This whole retreat, the way that like I and we basically designed this was just like, what do I want, and what do we want, and what do you want, like for ourselves. And then the agreement of like no gossip isn't like, oh, daddy told us we're not supposed to gossip. Samek, you're gossiping. It's like, no, I want to have an internal culture where there's not gossiping. I want to have a beautiful retreat with a beautiful culture where we all feel safe. And I do think not gossiping can contribute to that. And I know you think that. And so it's like, all right, let's do it. And I think we did a great job of expressing that clearly in the opening circle. And I think people could feel that. And then because the principles and the agreements, right, this all the expectations were genuinely authentic coming from us, that means we genuinely authentically wanted to uphold those agreements and naturally embody those agreements and naturally embody those agreements even more deeply, which like there's an alignment there that I think made the culture actually want to follow us and made the culture actually see like, oh, that does feel good, and I do also want that for myself. And because I got my authority issues, but I even without that, I don't know. I do think a lot of agreements, even in emotional work containers, that I've been um, forced to agree to, and they're like, raise your hand if you agree, and it's not really a choice whether you agree or not. One, we only had 5 people, so we could like, I was like, dude, if you actually don't agree with this, like, please tell me, because if you're agreeing to something you don't want to agree to, then we're now like now our agreements are all weakened, like because that's a fake agreement. That's not a real agreement. Like I don't want your fake consent that doesn't do anything. That's like it's actually bad for everyone. Your fake consent is bad for everyone. Um, and so like we had some like good awkward discussions where I was like feel free to be annoying if you like have quibbles, quabbles, whatever with the agreements, and like someone was annoying about it and I was like, thank you, I agree with you. And yeah, it just felt so good to like actually feel like the agreements and principles were supportive instead of like this is how you should do it. This is what will make it safe for you. It was like, oh, of course we want this. Like, of course the job is enjoyment. Of course, no gossip. Like, I think another part of that is like how we set up how we want to relate to conflict is another expectation, which is like, hey, like you are encouraged to like directly face conflict with people, like setting boundaries, making requests, like asking a person to talk one on one. You can ask me or Samek or someone else to facilitate that conflict for you. They can say yes or no. Me or Samek will probably say yes, but anyone can say yes or no to that. But like, there's no institutionalized conflict resolution structure here. We're just here, but we're really happy to help you and empower you and give you the support you need to face conflict on your own, kind of like it's the real world. Um, and that felt really good too. Yeah,
Yeah. I want to add to the agreements and principles thing of we very clearly stated the purpose of each agreement and principle. Like the purpose was
yeah,
extremely clear. And when a participant disagreed with like almost every single guideline, and we had a discussion about it so that the purpose was even more clarified for everyone in the retreat.
yeah,
It was like the purpose was like discussed like thoroughly with everyone so that everyone understood why they were doing it. Like
yeah,
there's a classic like Viktor Frankl, like the man who has a strong enough why can bear any how. It's
mm,
like we weren't like giving a shit sandwich of like, oh, this is the awesome bit, but here's the things you have to follow. But like here's the awesome bit. Like we weren't giving like a compliment like guideline sandwich. We're just like, no, this is what we're gonna do, and this is the reason we're gonna do it. Like there was like a very like direct like we're not gonna gossip because gossip ruins the quality of the culture. It establishes like a way where you can avoid conflict by talking shit about someone else. It makes it so the quality of the conversation in the moment is like weakened, and it like destroys the like the safety of the container because you don't know what people are going to be saying about you. So we're not going to have no gossip. And then like we went like guideline by guideline, just like explaining the purpose. And if someone disagreed, it's like okay, let's have a discussion about it. And I feel like that like really internalized for everyone, like we're here and we're following this in service of. It's not like about them. It has nothing to do with me or even Harry. It's about the culture. It's about everyone. It's like bigger than them. It's like in service to the retreat. And having that established, like people were more likely to just be aligned to it instead of like, like feeling like shitty about it or like shooting themselves to follow it. They're
yeah,
like, oh yeah, they're like everyone's like, oh, I want to like the purpose is clear. I want to feel safe. Who doesn't want to feel safe? I want to be loved. This is the reasons that we're following this, and it will help people love me. It will help people. It'll help so I feel more safe. Of course, I'm gonna do that. And I think
yeah.
like that like the clarity that we had in that really helps. And then for the second thing of authority issues, like we established everything day one, such that like in a way, like we weren't authorities. What were the authorities? The guidelines were the authorities that everyone is upholding. The principles were the authorities. The schedule was the authorities. And the thing is, like, because those were the authorities, everyone could have a say without like have a say without being scared that they're stepping on anything. They're like, oh yeah, this is the rules. Like Samek, no gossip. Like I am running the retreat. Samek, no gossip. You're gossiping right now. Like they don't feel scared because it's like I'm not the authority here. The guidelines are the authority, so they don't have like the authority issues coming in that like I'm scared to like bring this up with Samek. I'm scared to bring this up with Harry. They're just like, oh, there's a schedule. Here's the guidelines. We're following this. This is the authority of the room. Everyone else here is just an alien, just a human being that doesn't know what the fuck they're like. I don't know what this person is or how they're thinking, but they're just a human being here, and we're gonna treat them like an alien that I know nothing about. And I feel like that really helped with the culture. Um, I think like orientation is such an important thing, and like I think we had somehow a really good orientation for the
Oh, and
retreat.
adding on to that, I think there's a very importantly a simplicity to it, which is we had three principles: bring it in, transparency, the job is enjoyment. Well, the job is enjoyment, transparency, bring it in, I believe was the order. Uh, right? I still remember that naturally. I honestly would guess that every participant still remembers it naturally. I guess 80%. I guess two of the three participants remember it. uh, but right, like, and then I think there's three or four agreements, and so it was like, and they were so simple and clear. And I know we talked about this when we designed the opening circles. Like they were also mimetically fit. They were easy to remember. Um,
Yeah, the marketing was
it's
set. Like
yeah,
you look
good
at the principle,
marketing.
like bring it in. The job is
Bring it
enjoyment. It's like
in,
easy to
bring
remember.
it
It's
in,
super easy to remember.
and so yeah, and so we actually all had it in our bodies and in our minds, and we didn't even like post it on the wall anywhere. We just all remembered, and especially one of the agreements being like, remind each other of these agreements when you want to, uh, right? Like then we're also reinforcing each other's understanding of the agreements and the principles, um, and a cultural vibe of like, feel free to be in your peer inquiry conversation and be like, what if you bring it in right now? Or like, what if you're more transparent right now? Or what if the job is enjoyment? Blah, blah, blah. What if everything is an alien? Um, yeah.
Yeah. Um, yeah, and also I love the insights that came about in the retreat. I think like the my experience of Joe Hudson is he always says group intelligence is more powerful than an individual
Mm,
intelligence. And I've not really had that experience very clearly like shown to me outside of this retreat. And like given that we're doing peer inquiry all day, like five of them a day, what happens is insight moves through everyone.
yeah.
So like we had a day where like everyone talked about their wants. We had another day where everyone talks about their girl issues. And like one person talks about it, they have like an insight, they feel like they have a breakthrough. And then the other person's like, I want that. So they start talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
then like it just like
Totally.
chains down and the entire group is talking about girl issues all day. And everyone's having different insights, but everyone's learning from each other. So it
Yeah.
feels like the insights pool, like it's like the group intelligence pools into this like hive mind brain intelligence, and then everyone gains that. Everyone gains the wisdom of everyone else by the end of the day. And I think that was a sick part of it. And I also like that like we continuously like rederive like different wisdom traditions. Like I've been a part of many wisdom traditions. And like I feel like each has their own like maps and models and whatever. And like one of the basic ones that every tradition has is like the three things, like the victim, bully, savior, the aversion, craving, delusion. And it was really fun. Or I think it was like Harry or we were like having a discussion in the kitchen, and like we derived that out of just like the Attunement Residency's version of that, which is like if you're running away from love, if you're chasing love, and if you don't think the love is already there, as in like aversion,
Mm,
craving, or delusion, those are all the same thing, which is an avoidance of love. And that feels like in that retreat setting, in that culture, very easy to understand and very uh like wise as in like, oh yeah, of course. Um, like very like simple for the brain to hold. I don't know how to describe it. It's something that like we could like latch onto and like very clearly like reestablish our internal culture for. And I feel like all these wisdom traditions are its own culture that's trying to like teach you how to have a really clean internal culture and has its own like set of wisdoms that they're trying to teach. But like we didn't teach anything during this retreat, really. We really didn't teach shit. We like established the container and we just had everyone just like, have authentic conversations all day. And then all this wisdom just like came out of that. Like the teacher taught nothing and the student learned. Like that shit was happening
boom.
left and right. It was just
The
like whoop whoop whoop,
teacher,
everyone's learning.
the teacher teaches nothing, yet nothing is left unlearned. I forget the exact Dao De Jing quote, but yeah, that's a banger.
Yeah, yeah.
I didn't realize that we did that quote, but we did, and that's sick.
It was awesome.
Hell yeah. The teacher teaches nothing, and yet everything is learned. So sick. And as you were speaking, I started to feel like, when you like walk into a room and it smells like your childhood home and you like get the feeling of being in your childhood home or whatever version of that. I had that like hearing you speak about the retreat and especially the love, like you're either running away from love or you're chasing love or you're not seeing how the love is already there, but the love's always already there. And those are also forms of love. You saying that, I felt the feeling again of being at the retreat and like being in the courtyard and like talking in the kitchen, eating the best cheese I've ever had and dark chocolate and ripping apple juice all day. Dude, this was sick. And I when I feel the feeling of being at the retreat in my whole body, it does just again bring up the like everything's love. Like everything's love. Like even if I'm tired going into the next view conversation, there's such a deep trust in the love in the universe that's like it's so easy to surrender or like trust. I would say trust or like have faith. And it's like, oh yeah, we, the universe, gravity, Tao, whatever, like it's got me. I've got me. Reality's got me. Like it's all love.
It's all love, bro. All the
Like
view
how could it possibly go
conversations,
wrong?
exactly. All the view, I mean, all the pure inquiry, all the swaps were just like us rederiving love in all its different forms continuously.
Yeah. 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 That's a great way to say it. Rederiving love over and over again. And then you like day three, you're like, but yeah, I remember one time someone we would share that was really nice too. And that was something we didn't plan to like that was an idea we had pretty last minute, which was after we did our pure inquiry separately, after each one, we all shared like 90 seconds each, like, oh, like what you just learn, what just happened, whatever you want to share. And at one point in the retreat, I'll see if I can do it right now. I was like, this, this is my imitation of every pure inquiry conversation at this retreat. Oh, I'm stuck. This thing is oppressing me. And then like 10 minutes later, you're like, oh, wait, it was just love. Okay. And so you do that enough times, and then you see the next thing, and you're like, oh, I'm stuck in this thing's oppressing me. And then you know it's going to turn it into love. And you don't know how, and that doesn't immediately turn it into love, but it does create some more space and some efficiency and some lightness. But it doesn't transform everything. But you intellectually are like, shit, no matter what the next thing is, it's going to transform into love. And then it's really easy to trust and have faith. It's really easy to take the leap of faith that's like, oh my God, I can't bring that in. That's not going to transform into love. And you're like, well, I had that thought 12 different times this retreat, and I was wrong every time. So it makes it so, and now I've heard Joe Hudson say something similar to this, which is like, you take that leap of faith of vulnerability enough times, and you just see how well it works over enough times that it's just like, of course, you see the leap of faith and you're just like, whatever, dude. Like, let's do it. Like this.
Yeah. You
Yeah.
think you're jumping off the cliff, but you're just taking the next step. That was like another.
Mm, that's a cool way to say it. I'll toss it back to you. What did you learn at the Attunement Residency?
Cut out, so I'm waiting. You're back. What were you saying?
I was saying, I want to throw it back to you. What did you learn at the Attunement Residency?
I mean, like I've like said pieces of it. Self-referential, just like triggers. And that is what inner work is, in my opinion. Is like all of inner work is like you're doing external things and it triggers you, and instead of externalizing it, you internalize it
Mm.
and then you just work on yourself. It's like, oh, you feel overwhelmed because you have to apply to 1,000 jobs to get a job. No, you're just feeling overwhelmed. The 1,000 job thing is separate. If you work on your overwhelm, you'll just do the applying to the 1,000 jobs. It'll be fine. It'll be easy. Like it's like, oh, I feel overwhelmed or I feel angry because this person did this to me. It's like, no, they're just being themselves. You're angry. You have a boundary you didn't set. You get to work on it yourself. It has nothing to do with them. It is like inner work is just outer work. It's like inner work is the thing that makes outer work like simple and easy. And I feel like this retreat like very much established that for me, such that like there's so much freedom of like, oh, I can do anything. Like a lot of empowerment. Like another thing we did
Mm.
in the retreat was everyone had a word. Uh, we
Oh
everyone said
yeah.
intentions and then got a word from it. And my word, my intention was I want to see like how much empowerment like I can drive or like I want to be able to get to a place where I feel empowered to do what I want. And from that, the word is empowerment. So like a lot of my themes around the retreat was just like a lot of my conversations around empowerment, and everyone had their own word, and that like kind of dictated your experience as well, which is a really cool
My
experience.
my word was pleasure.
And I saw that, I will say. And my word was empowerment, and I felt that. Like leaving the retreat, like it felt very much like I could do anything, I can do everything. And when I do things and it does trigger me, oh, cool, I get to do more inner work. It has nothing to do with the outside thing. Like I have like a million things I could do, and if I want to do it, I go do it. And then if I feel stuck in any ways, that has nothing to do with the thing I want to do. It has everything to do with me, and I get to work on it. And that self-referential loop is like getting tighter and tighter, I would say. Like my happiness is solely my responsibility. My stuckness, my anxiety, my emotions, it has nothing to do with the external environment. It is my thing. And that gives me so much responsibility, but in that, it also gives me so much empowerment. It gives me so much self-love because I can always love myself. I can always feel empowered. I can always love myself. But if I externalize my responsibility of safety to my job, if I externalize my responsibility of love and value to a friend of mine or this girl, if I externalize the responsibility of feeling like free to, I don't fucking know, money, then like you're fucked because then you don't have the empowerment. Like if you don't have the money, if you don't have the girl, if you don't have the job, you're fucked. Is I'm just like you're fucked. Like, you've externalized it all, so you can't do anything. You're just trapped. But if you've internalized it, then there's a lot of fear, there's a lot of anxiety, there's a lot of emotions. But then you get to work on it because you're responsible, you're empowered to work on it, and you can always work on it. Um, and I feel like that self-referential loop was like a lot more is more complete post retreat than like any time before. And I would say that the reason for that is also my intention was empowerment. Um, what else? I think that was like the big part of it was that thing. And then another thing is like something that became really clear to me is how smart I am. Like not in like an ego way, but like I have intelligence. I have this brain, this like amazing brain that's able to come up with amazing ideas, is able to execute. Um, and like I feel like I've always had like imposter syndrome. Like outside in the outside world, like I mean like I am able to like see the competence that I had, but I was never able to internally see it. And one thing that became really clear is as I internalized my responsibility of like making money, of safety, of love through the retreat, I like my intelligence and my competence became like more and more clear, and imposter
Mm.
syndrome as like a thing just like slowly disappeared. And I've had like multiple experiences over the last week where like I was like, oh, I want to study something, and I study it, and I study it for like 3 hours, and I understand so much about it that my brain goes into like this like hyperdrive like craziness, and it's like creating connections, and it's like learning in ways that like I didn't know I could learn. And I feel like the retreat made me smarter, but more so it unblocked all the things that was preventing me from accessing my intelligence in the first place. And Harry had the quote of like, when the emotions flow, the intelligence will take care of itself.
So
And
that's A.S.
I
Neal,
got to like,
everybody. A.S. Neal. He's
yeah,
one
A.S. Neal said
Summer
that.
Hill School.
And I've been able to experience that. It's like, as my emotions been flowing, it's like, oh, this intelligence, this thing, this like engine, the supercar can just take care of itself, and it fucking drives, bro. I can see it driving, and I'm still scared of it because I still have my authority issues. And seeing it drive terrifies me because I still project authority onto my intelligence. But I can see it driving, and that's been amazing to experience.
Nice. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
That reminds me of the one of the other things that moved through the whole group was compliments and like letting the love in.
Hmm.
I might have started it, but I don't actually remember. And so there's like one we would do the last peer inquiry of the day would be 4-on-1, so four people asking someone questions for 10 minutes, or at least holding space for them. And so I think I was like, all right, everybody compliment me for 10 minutes. But I was, I asked, I was like, can you guys compliment me for 10 minutes? And everyone was like, of course. And so you just like let the love in for 10 minutes. It's like, oh God. And then I think everyone decided to do it, or at least four people decided to do it of the five.
Everyone did.
Eventually, everyone did. Yeah, just like another nice thing to move through the group, and I see that and you seeing your intelligence clearly. One of the things Joe Hudson says about compliments is like it helps you see yourself more clearly, and it helps take away the negative ego. So if you're like, I'm so dumb, and then someone's like, oh, you're like so smart. For me, it was like I'm insecure about how I lead, and a bunch of times people were like, oh, you're just like being a fantastic leader, like, and it feels super natural and authentic and effortless for you. And I'm like, oh, my my negative ego definition that I'm an insecure leader. Fuck.
Dying.
Ah.
It's
What
dying.
do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like ego is both the positive, like I am so good, I'm so much better than you, and also I'm so shit, I'm so much worse than you.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like compliments are an amazing tool for that.
Yeah, and like, right, you can misinterpret compliments as like, you're so good, like, oh my God, Samek, you're so smart. I could never be as smart as you. But like, what compliments actually are is like, and outside of the attunement residency, last week with one of my friends, we swapped 10 minutes of compliments. So I would compliment him and he would compliment me, and we did 10 minutes a day for 7 days, and it was awesome. And the thing I learned both ways was like a compliment is just like the obvious thing I see in you. Like it's so obvious. Like Samek is smart. Like I don't think anyone listening to this podcast can't see that Samek is smart, even if he doesn't give the fucking resume. Um, and it's not only it's not only the compliment, but it's like the obviousness of it to the other person, and it's the effortlessness of it in you or me. So like swapping compliments with this person, I loved. We often just compliment each other's faces. So like I'd be like, I like your ears, and he'd be like, I like your nose. And there's something it's just like this shit's like if I'm like, I like your cheeks. It's just like it's right on your face. It's effortless. It's pretty hard to have ego about like my cheeks rock. Like I'm better than you because of my cheeks. And so those are my favorite compliments that are just like it's so obvious and it's so effortless. And I've never even thought about it, but now that you say it, oh yeah, that is obviously true and beautiful about me. And it's just again reinforcing this like there's nothing you need to do to be loved. And like the things that people compliment you about aren't the things you're insecure about that you like anxiously try to fix yourself into. Like the things people compliment you about are the things that you couldn't not be if you fucking tried.
Yeah, I remember during the multiple times that we did compliments, I was just like, Harry, I like your hair.
Yeah.
I said that a couple of times. And it was like, it feels so effortless because it's like, of course, Harry has nice hair. I could see it. Everyone can see it. It's pretty easy to say. It doesn't feel like oh, I'm trying to gain Harry's approval by saying I like his hair. And I feel like that's like a part of compliments is like the authentic compliments are really easy. It's really obvious.
Anything
Oh,
else you learned that you want to share?
hmm. I think I'm all right. I feel like I learned so much that it's hard to just like put it into an hour-long podcast. But
Yeah, yeah,
we've
yeah.
shared a lot. I feel like we've shared a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a similar feeling of like, wow, there's infinite more I want to say, but for now I feel pretty good.
Yeah, sick.
Sweet.
I'm gonna end it here. Thank you everyone for watching the 23rd episode of the Attunement Podcast. We took a break for a few weeks, running retreats. What can we say? It's life's happening, life's amazing. I don't know what to say. Check out harryandsamek.com. We'll have an interest form at the bottom for future retreats. Um, share anything you want. Would love to hear more and pass it to Harry.
Mac.com. Thanks for listening. I love you. Everything's love, even if you don't see it. Sorry. Take us out.
And we'll continue doing this for as long as we enjoy it.
That is our promise to you. See you the fuck later. Go team.
Bang.